A series that was going all the way to start off the day, but Big say no and take the win 2-1 over Endpoint. Heartbreak for the UK boys, but now it's time to delve into game number 2 as Mad Lions take on Heroic. And of course, Potter and Blair are joining me to break this one down. I'm very excited to get into day 2 of DreamHack Open Summer. Potter, are you excited for this one?
I'm so excited for this one. I have a special spot for Heroic. I think they're a hard-working team. I love their mentality. I love what they showcase in that server. And I'm excited especially for this series because Heroic have never actually beat Mad Lions since they became Mad Lions. The only time they actually beat them in a series was back when they were tricked, over a year ago. So it's been quite some time. But with Mad Lions coming in here with that roster change, I mean, this is definitely going to spice things up, I think, between these two teams.
Yeah, I feel like we've definitely got a grudge match on our hands. So make sure you are voting for your favorite team down in Twitch chat below. Put hashtag Heroic if you're on Heroic side and hashtag Mad if you think the Lions are going to take the win. But I think it's time we delve a little bit deeper into this Danish derby at hand. But I say Danish, and that's actually not entirely true, as Mad Lions now have a new addition in Innocent, replacing Bubsky. Blair, how do you kind of feel he is going to be fitting into this lineup?
I don't know. This is a really hard one. I kind of feel, you know what? Honestly, I think it's good. You know, they're off to the break's over. They get Innocent coming in, and look, Innocent, he's a pretty good player. He's been playing the Polish scenes for a while. I think he was playing most recently with the guys with Snacks and Luminar, where he was a top fragger. He's the highest rated player as well. But replacing Bubsky, I don't think he's going to be able to fill his boots quite yet. Also, the most important thing, the elephant in the room, the language of choice has always been Danish. All this while, suddenly now I have to switch it up into English to accommodate Innocent, and now we're going to be heading against some of the better teams in the region. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very hard, and I gotta say, it's going to be more for learning experience for Mad Lions in this entire tournament. I don't really fancy the chances to be real.
Yeah, because this roster change came in very, very recently, or was announced very recently at least. Potter, how do you kind of feel that he's going to be fitting into this role? You know, this being their first tournament back together after the player break, maybe not having too much time to practice. I'm not sure what to make of this.
Yeah, it is a little bit confusing, but I'm going to err on the side of I think it's promising. I'm not going to lie. I have high hopes for this player in Innocent. I remember the first time I saw him playing, I think was DreamHack Anaheim last year. He was playing with the Luminar. And just the oomph that he had in that server, no matter what scenario he was put in, he always seemed to come out on top of the trays, and he always seemed to make the deadliest decision. I'm not going to say it was always the best decision, but it was so deadly. He was always in that server making things happen. So I'd love to see him doing that, because that's exactly Bubsky's playstyle, right? So I do think that that's the positive aspect for this coming in, but it's been an entire year since we've seen Innocent in a upper scale tournaments such as DreamHack like this. So I am curious to see what that experience from him in this last year has gained him. Is it going to make him shy away a little bit? Is it going to make him a little bit more cautious? Or are we going to still see that oomph coming from Innocent in that server?
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what they're going to be bringing to the game today. And of course, we had a chance to catch up with them before their game. So let's see what Mad Lions have to say.
Okay, so with Innocent on the team now, he's been showing a lot of really great signs of motivation, and he's been playing really well and just trying to fit into the team, and it's been going pretty great lately, the last 2 days. Yeah, we don't really we don't have the highest expectations right now. I mean, we have done it before, like where we switch out a player and actually won the tournament twice now. With not much preparation time, but like you never know when you have a new player and you got like zero, like you have like 2, 3, 4 days for prep. Yeah, so we switched from Danish to English communication yesterday as our first practice day. For me personally, it hasn't been that tough, but it's definitely a work in progress, and it's been okay. Going up against Heroic in the first game is I don't know why we always get the Danish opponents normally. So yeah, no hard feelings between each other. Like we all friends, and but they've been playing together for some time now, so we expect a really tough game ahead of us. So definitely it will be a fun game.
Acor answering a lot of the questions we just asked there. I want to bring up the switching to English for their comms. Blair, you sort of picked up on that as a potential issue. Now we know that they're going to be communicating in English. What do you kind of make of that?
I mean, it's going to be very different from, let's say, when we had, I think it was Snappy and Smooya who are about to join the Mongolian team. That's a different whole thing altogether. If you look at these guys, they know how to speak English. It's not like English is a problem. All 5 of them know how to speak English, at least Counter-Strike English, right? But you have these tendencies you need, when it comes to the heated moments, you start communicating in your language, and suddenly imagine you're Acor and, let's say, Innocent in a 2v2 or a 2v3. It's a map point moment, and suddenly the comm just might fail because you're just not used to it, right? And it just started speaking like 3 or 4 days back. I don't think it's enough time to really kind of be used to it yet. So I'm happy that they are very cognizant of the fact that this is going to be an uphill battle for them, the fact that they have a new player coming in, switching the comms and everything. So as long as they're aware of it, I think they're still going to be trying to kind of make the best of it, so to speak.
Yeah, just one more thing before we switch to the side of Heroic. Potter, I know you were there, obviously at Flashpoint 1 as well. They, again, didn't have that much preparation time coming into it, but they won the whole event, and Acor obviously picked up on that there. You know, we haven't had that much time to practice and prepare, but we're confident, and they've shown us that they can, you know, prove their form beforehand.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Freya. And I'm looking at Acor, and really, I'm looking at Shush. I think Shush has the mechanical skill to absolutely be a superstar. And now with Bubsky out the door, sure, on paper, it looks like a horrible move, potentially, right? But for a player like Shush, hey, he's got a lot more space to move around now. He's got a lot more space to potentially get more frags on the board, get more involved. I think this potentially could open up a whole different sort of opportunities for a lot of these individuals. So really, I'm looking at Acor and Shush to just gain a lot more space.
Well, speaking of individual players as well, obviously on the Heroic side, we've seen a number of roster changes happen quite recently. Potter, I know you're a huge fan of Tessas and Nico coming onto the lineup, obviously from Optic Gaming. What do you think they kind of bring to the team, and do you feel like they've proved their form since joining a few months ago?
I think so. I absolutely do think so. And they were such big shoes to fill. I mean, especially for Nico, taking over Esatag's spot. Esatag, we know, was such a long-standing anchor on this squad. But since this addition, I'm not going to lie, it hasn't been the most successful as I think these players were probably hoping for, but as it should be, right? They still were working out the small kinks. They were still working out, trying to figure out how to become that top team. And if you throw in roster shakeups in the mix, then it just makes it all the more challenging. So certainly Heroic are still on that path. They're still on that trajectory to make themselves a relevant, like top 10 solidified team in the world. They're not quite there yet, but I mean, it's looking promising.
Yeah, I think one of the huge storylines coming into this matchup in particular is obviously Hunden being the coach of Heroic, former Mad Lions player, the person that really shaped a lot of these young stars on the side of Mad Lions. Blair, I don't know how you're sort of standing with this. Do you feel like that could potentially be an advantage for Heroic? Because Hunden kind of, you know, shaped how these players play on the side of Mad Lions.
I don't care which team Hunden's on as a coach or whatever, I think it's a big plus. The guy knows what he's doing. He's an incredible mind for Counter-Strike. So yes, he's an absolute big plus. For me, I think the player I'm going to keep an eye out for Heroic, and I agree with Potter, I feel like Nico and Tessa's joining in, they've done their job. They've been making the team look very good. Although they've been in kind of a weird spot lately, they seem to have kind of plateaued. You know, they want to solidify themselves in the top 10 spot. But I think the player for me to keep an eye on is Borup, because Borup, for me, he's been kind of quiet.
Yeah, we had an opportunity to check in with some of the guys from the Heroic side, so let's take a look at what they had to say.
We're looking forward to playing this tournament a lot. It's been a long while since we had our last tournament, and finally we can play again. I think it's the first time in a long while where all the top teams has had such a long break. So I also think that kind of gives a potential for a lot of upsets at the first couple of tournaments, because everyone needs to find their groove again. I think maybe some of the results in the beginning is going to be shaky for all the teams, and that definitely could include us and the other teams in the group as well. So yeah, we're facing off against Mad Lions in the first game. The feelings between the two teams is kind of okay, I think. We have Hunden as a coach now, who was a previous player of Mad Lions, so he's gonna know some of their tendencies and what they like to do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a fun game, and hopefully we'll beat them. So this is going to be a surprise for my team. My teammates don't know that I equipped this one, but I'll have it for when we play our official game against Mad Lions. So whenever we get the rounds, I'm gonna be And I can assure you that this is gonna bring the hype to me and my boys, okay? See you on the server.
Cadian never fails to amaze me. I love that he thinks that's going to bring the heat to their team. It's a player we haven't actually really spoken about in terms of his impact on the server. I think it's going to be quite interesting as well because we've seen him on so many Danish lineups. He's had a bit of a roller coaster ride as a player himself, but I feel like he's going to be bringing a lot to this team.
Yeah, he has. He has had a roller coaster. You're right, Freya. But you know, one thing we always say about Cadian is don't expect him to be on the top of the scoreboard. He's more of that anchor role with that op. He's not a flashy op. But honestly, I gotta take all those back because in 2020, it's really been about Cadian and his presence with that AWP making work. He has like this fallen style. He likes to get in the face of his opponents, use that AWP like a shotgun. But then he can really be a methodical opera that benefits his team, holding the long lines, surviving, throwing utility for his mates. So a really nice mixture of play styles coming out from Cadian.
Yeah, definitely. And we definitely saw that happening earlier this year in Leipzig as well. Unfortunately, they couldn't solidify the win. They finished in the semi-finals, but I'm excited to see if they can redeem themselves today. And it's going to start with this match right here, right now. And we're going to jump in to our map veto. So Blair, let me start off with you. What are you kind of expecting for this?
I'm a little surprised with the Dust 2 ban coming out there from Mad Lions. But here's the thing with Mad Lions: the fact that they're playing with a completely brand new lineup, or not a brand new lineup, but Innocent coming in. Here's the thing: that Nuke, that's what I was waiting for. I wanted to see which team's going to pick Nuke, and they both floated because both of them very comfortable on it. However, I felt like Nuke would be maybe banned out by Mad Lions. Here's the thing: you have a new player coming in, and when you talk about maps like Train and Nuke, these are the maps where you need to have the protocols ready. And if you had your player for like, what, 4 or 5 days, that's not quite good enough. But overall, this makes sense. You look at Mirage, a map that they're pretty comfortable playing on. Mad Lions usually go for a first pick there, and it allows the freedom of someone like Innocent. You can just keep him towards the B bomb side, make him play towards the A bomb side with his teammates. So it kind of allows them to work with the unit, so to speak.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this map plays out. Indeed, just really quickly, Blair, who are you going for this one?
It has to be Heroic. Very simple reason. New player for Mad Lions. They seem to be pretty much trying to reshuffle everything all together. And Heroic, they're looking for that revenge. They want to win a match finally. And I don't think they've won it, like you said, in over a year now.
Yeah, Potter, are you going to be siding with Heroic?
Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna go with Heroic here as well. I think Lions certainly should be the stronger team on paper, even with the 5th, but I gotta believe in Heroic here. This is their opportunity.
And you know what? After that air horn incident from Cadian, I can't not go with Heroic. So Heroic across the board for this best of 3 series. We're gonna be jumping right into this matchup. It's gonna be a spicy one, a Danish derby to go down. We'll see you after the break.
Hello and welcome back to DreamHack Open Summer. My name is Risk. Alongside me is Tom Biz, and we have a very, very good match for you guys. It's going to be the battle for the unofficial official title as Denmark's second best team. Of course, Astralis, they poached a player from each of these 2 teams we are in the team now, so they're still at the top spot, some would say. But these 2 teams are very, very interesting to follow for the remaining part of this 2020 year, and I'm really excited to get this one going.
Yeah, I'm really happy that after you getting to watch a UK team lose, I get to watch a Danish team lose. So
well,
that makes me feel a little bit better about myself.
That's the good thing about having multiple teams in the top 30. Then, like, Danish team was always have a chance to win. So, but yeah, it's fine, Tom. It's fine, Tom.
The question is, Riz, are you sticking with everyone on the desk? We've seen another clean sweep, except for me last time. But yeah, do you which Danish team do you believe in more?
Yeah.
Like, which team are you going to betray? Is the
obviously I have to go with the biggest amount of Danes, and since the coach of Mad Lions is not Danish and they have Innocent from Poland, then I obviously have to go with the other team. Nah, I think Heroic is going to be the best team in this matchup. No bias upon. Anyway, But we have Cadian in a good position to start things off, but great secondary flashbang from Mad Lions. Cadian will get a 1-for-1. A great use of the utility for Mad Lions. Tess is in the back of the site, the turret himself. And it's done. Asilian, 38 HP. No way he can clutch this.
A lot left to do. At least Down is relatively low, but Nico is good for the trade. Will be heroic 1 and 0. Of course, we can go through and do what I always love, which is hear the proper Danish pronunciation of all of these names, because I know that I know that I think we simplify a lot of them. Like I always say Stown. Is that correct?
That's pretty close. From the left side, it's Borup, Thesis, Nico, Cadian, and Stown. And on the right side, Roy, Shush, Asilian,
that's the one.
Innocent, or Echo. There we go. Shout out to all the Danes.
It sounds like you're about to throw up.
That is our language. That's it. But then again,
go, guys.
This was a quick round anyway, so.
That's actually how I felt when I watched the last match with Endpoint versus Big on Mirage. I was like, perfect pronunciation. But yeah, 2-0 to Heroic, of course. We are going to see the buyback up for Mad Lions, so not so much of an issue for them here. I am excited to see what this team can do, because I think that if I'm looking at players from Poland that I think are underrated, Innocent's one of the only ones on the list. Veto is going to kick things off with an opener. Cadian able to trade back alongside Barup, and this is going from bad to worse. Innocent does at least get one, but now it's left all onto Acor. I'm liking his picture, but I think it might be referring to him in this case.
This is a tough one. And also because this was the bonus round for Heroic. 4 out of the 5 players had enough money to buy up, even if they lost this one. So economy is looking great for Heroic. They can upgrade. Cadian actually doesn't get an upgrade on his farmers, but doesn't really matter since they're going to be up against another eco now. So this is a good start for Heroic. Mad Lions, they need something else.
Yeah, this one's going to be a bit more of a minute investment. But yeah, basically what I was saying, I think Innocent's one of those players who is a bit underrated from the Polish team. Like he's one that we've not really seen like picked up by the likes of Virtus Pro when they were, of course, a Polish side. And he was someone who I always thought could put up at least decent numbers throughout the years, like whichever Polish team he was in. So I don't think it's a bad pickup as an individual player. The thing that we're questioning is, well, firstly, in a Danish team, why do they need to go for a more European mix? Because there's so many talented Danish players, it's actually annoying. So,
but then again,
there must have been someone that fits, that allows everybody else to be more comfortable.
Of course, I don't know because I've been on vacation as well, so I haven't really had time to ask the boys like why this was put in place. And even if I had asked, they probably weren't able to answer anyway because of
give you a PR answer.
But yeah, I think one of the reasons is that the Danish scene at this point has become so built up that all players have contracts. So even though if you want to go to a lower level to buy out a player for, let's say, a Tricked or a team below that rank, that's still going to cost you a lot of money because they are all on professional contracts now. So you can't just go up and pick someone up just for free. No one is being able to.
It's the Na'Vi problem, basically.
Yeah, like you can't do that. You have to invest a lot of money because those contracts are like, $50,000, $100,000 at this point.
Well, yeah, from some of the numbers I've heard floating around with like the players that like Na'Vi wanted from Forza, those numbers were insane.
Exactly. Well, but it's not like, that insane, but
yeah, it's not that big. But yeah, that's definitely a problem because obviously people were surprised when Perfecto was picked up, and although he's definitely been a good addition to the team, he definitely wasn't their first choice. But a lot of players are locked into contracts, so. Yeah, if that is happening and they're going to test out Innocent, who's obviously been a free agent for a while, hey, if it works, they've got themselves a great player and saved themselves a pretty penny.
Yeah, it's definitely something worth trying, I would say. So now we have the full buy-up. We have Acor on the orb, exactly where we want him. We have the double up on the CT side, Down on the secondary, Cadian on the primary. And that's one of the things I like about this Heroic team as well, that we do see on a lot of top teams. You have to have the ability to double up on the CT side. Cadian, obviously the in-game leader with the ability to AWP as well. But Down more like a simple S player who can also pick it up and can even main it if he wants to, but also has sick rifling and possible potential. So That's a nice duo. I like that. I don't think any of them matches up against Aiko in a direct 1v1. I still think Aiko is the best AWP player on the server right now. But they're definitely better than the secondary, whoever that becomes for Mad Lions.
Oh, 40 seconds left for Mad Lions to make a play, and Nico's actually spotted them around the connector. The incendiary, well placed, will literally burn some time off the clock, and it allows Down's aggressive position within the palace to do some extra damage. Tessus actually gets a kill, though, as he fades away through the Molotov, and they're running out of time. They've got 20 seconds to now run the gauntlet towards the B site, and they know that Tessus is on the other side. The push through, he hits the dink, but they've actually managed to gain some space. I'm surprised that this is going to happen. They will get the bomb plant unless it gets denied on the cross, and Asilian just about makes it. Not going to be able to stop him, even with the nade. And now we sit in a 2 versus 2, and you mentioned this man, Acor, on the AWP, just watching for the cross, waiting for the peak to come in. He'll nail it as well, leaving just Down, the man who kicked it off with the AWP, to try and clutch this one out. A round that was looking bleak for Mad Lions, now firmly within their control, and up to the youngster to try and bring this one home. So many angles left to check. I'm not really a believer at this point, and Acor is going to close it out. 4 kills in their opening buy round, and well, not a bad man to highlight, right?
Definitely not. Acor, as we were talking about him, steps in, gets everything done with the AWP. Definitely one of the better ones, and one of the main players to like break out of the Danish tier 2 scene onto like a very, very highly respected position. It was not many years ago that he was in that North Academy team just running around and everyone looking at him and kind of laughing for him to be a top AWPer in Denmark and in the world, but no one's laughing anymore.
Well, maybe he is. I guess that would be the only exception. I'm sure he's having a little bit of a giggle to himself whenever he looks back.
That's true.
Now, because of the double up setup being so expensive, this has meant that Nico, as seems to be the case quite often in his teams, has had to take the sacrificial role.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about Nico, and like he is one of those players who will just give up everything for the team to perform. And you don't really like think about that when you see his stats, because he has very good stats as well. But he will be the first player to give a weapon up or boost a teammate this time around. It's gonna be Down catching the frag, staying here on shot with the AWP. Not getting the kill in, but still doing the damage.
Yeah, they've realized in this round that without the utility, they almost have to try and take some risky fights, but they're winning them at the moment. Baruch with another. It's left down to just 3. Now, they managed to turn the last round on its head, but this time, the gamble stack of players from Heroic is actually in the right place. They've put everybody on A once again, and while that seems to be where the Mad Lions hope to push, Kaden on the cross is not going to miss that shot. In fact, decapitating Roy as he pushes in, and well, he's just going to nail the second as well, and closes it out with the triple. 5-1 for Heroic, a fantastic start, and unfortunately, this means Mad Lions' economy is, well, at least a little bit dicey.
That's also one of the things I really like about this double setup AWP-wise for Heroic, is that you have Down, who is more like the quick flashy AWP type player. Once again, I compared him to Simple. Obviously not as good yet, but he has that flashy, like he can quick scope, he can do all these movement kind of things. And then you have Kaden, who is a very static, Fallen-esque type of player, who will almost always make the right decision and almost always is sitting in the right spot. And when you just give him that position, he can take 3 kills, as we saw there. This one could be an eco push. Down gets the first one, fully flashed, and Tessus with the backup. Tessus with the Molotov as well. One player has broken through the defense, but I'm sure that's not going to be too big of a problem. Innocent also taken out, and Acor, last man standing, will be mopped up. 6-1 for Heroic.
Yeah, I'm sure the Astralis scouts are in the chat right now looking for another player to steal away, but we spoke about contracts. I'm hoping Heroic have put some big numbers down on these guys.
That's the only reason.
Yeah,
that's the only reason that S-Attack actually went away to Astralis, was because his contract ran out. So they didn't have to buy him out of.
It was a long wait.
Yeah. Everyone else has contracts. Don't worry about it.
Good. I'm glad, because I like this team a lot. I think we've seen sort of this team evolve quite a lot with different iterations. And this one's looking pretty damn good so far, at least in this matchup.
I agree.
What we've seen previously. Now, have they spotted the cross? Well, it doesn't matter. Cillian makes it a cross, but it's more Acor with that AWP to get that opener. Adian's still holding in. Now, he's got to be careful. I wonder if he expects this position. It looks like he's checking at least into Tetris, but does he check the sandwich? No, not quite enough. And Cillian with a second kill into this round. The bomb, on the other hand, has gone in the other direction. So he's just selling this as a pretty big fake, but Stown hasn't budged. And that could be everything.
It's going to be the B play where Stown is. Secures the first frag, holding the back angle. Innocent. Will he get a flashbang? Is there even a flashbang for him? He's going to get the frag onto Tessus, and Stown now in a good position. Actually misses both shots, but hits the third one. Acor 1v1 against Nico. Acor will have to hit that shot. The second he misses, that's when he's dead, but Nico is there. He's quicker. The former Optic player who waited so long on that Optic roster after the team had died to get into a new Danish team and play comes in huge with around 3 kills in this one.
Well, he's another one. I think, speaking of underrated players, I think that he's a lot of the time got the wrong end of the stick when it comes to rosters, like kicking players and removing people from the team. And he's definitely been joggled around different rosters, but it always seems a lot of the time when he is gone, that team is worse. And there's definitely a reason for that. Like, he plays his role very well, as we sort of mentioned, the sacrificial player, similarly to what we used to see from Sticko. It's like you would always see him get the blame, but most of the time it's not his fault. Nonetheless, a very good round for him to win, a triple kill, and 7-1 now. Of course, this is a new language, a new roster, so I think we will have to give Mad Lions a bit of time before we see them rise back up, which is something that, again, we can somewhat expect of this roster. They've done it multiple times now. But again, even just, I think this is possibly the worst matchup they ever could have had. A derby versus another Danish team, and more importantly, the man who pretty much created this roster, pulling the strings behind it.
Yeah, that's been one of the things. It sounds kind of negative, but one of the things I've been looking forward to is Hunden rotating from being a player to a coach, because I feel like with his mind, he could be one of the best coaches of all time in CSGO. We'll still have to wait and see for that. But Heroic right now looking good.
Once again, a more even scenario, but quickly diminished. This double orb setup has been deadly so far. Down a couple of misses here and there, but still 12 kills to his name, so you can't really take anything away from him.
Oh, okay.
And Cadian, okay, that's another one. Maybe they're trying to give them some warning shots, a bit of a chance if they do come in for the retake anyway. Roy, he's on the other end of the stick, 2 and 9, and it's not going to change in this scenario. 8-1. The domination of Mirage continues, and wow, it was looking like Heroic. Maybe the reason they were a little bit impatient to get going with what we saw on Twitter is that they're going to blow this one out of the park.
Yeah. This Heroic lineup is so interesting. I think the only thing that I'm kind of worried about, once again, like looking for them to go into maybe a top 15, top 10 placement in the rankings, is how Bora performs. Because he's one of these players that he's been touted as the next star in Danish CS for like 5 years now. And he hasn't broken through to the upper echelon yet. And it's kind of weird because he's so talented and he has so much potential, but he always seems to fall short. But if they can get him into play, if they can have Cadian do the calling, if Stown can be the first star, Barb the second star, I rate Nico and Tessus as the two best supportive players who are not on Astralis in the Danish scene right now, because they are so good at just playing around their teammates. And also, since Tessus is so young, he's just willing to listen. Like, he's just soaking in all the knowledge that Cadian and Hunden can give him and just growing as a player every day. So underrated.
Can I have that? I'd like that. I feel like they could even make me at least passable at Counter-Strike just by
they're probably good. That's
just
how good they are.
slapping me every time I do something wrong.
Oh, that's nice though. That is nice though from Innocent. Good flashbang
assist. He can be a bit more aggressive, I guess. Like, if you are going to be the sort of odd one out in this roster, send him in as an entry fragger. Be more aggressive within this team, and that's exactly what he's done within this round. The flashbang as well is so good. It's the kill onto Barup, and Tessa's somewhat left out of this one. His two teammates looking to try and make their way through, but realistically, the afterplant positions are going to make this one really tough.
You could see Borb actually kind of predicted the flash to come through it as he turned his back, but the round would just end. It falls apart. Very nice entry there from Innocent, just completely dominating the CT player, who I think was fully flashed from I think it was Sicilian's lamp flashbang he threw earlier. So very nicely done. First round, I think, really where Mad Lions is executed perfectly onto the A-bomb side, and it works.
8-2. Storm that has been Heroic has been quad, and something we've mentioned already is this double AWP setup is not cheap, so it keeps diminishing their economy. What a shot from Acorn, not giving him a second to even spot over the top. This man is so enjoyable to watch play. I think when he was first brought into this roster, there were definitely people, including myself, that had some doubts, but he's definitely turned everyone round. There's no doubt about that. What a shot to hit. And now we get to see the response from Heroic. It's going to be a complete gamble. They've pushed a player into Palace. They've got another just on the brink as well on the balcony. The only real rotator or the player looking around is going to be Nico, and this could be troublesome.
Okay, Borb. Once again a chance, but taken out by Roy. Tess is close. He'll be able to deny this. The backup of Cadian in CT spawn makes him believe that he can do this. He can make this happen. Molotov out now. And Tess is still alive.
Bomb's gone.
Great nade also. Bomb is going towards B, where the rotation has now come in. Once again, it's Nico being the second rotator towards that side. And Tess is still holding on. But it's going to be a 1-1-1.
Going alone. I think they've sold this fake a little bit better than they actually have. This is an easy kill. That's so risky for me. Like, I get that you're going to consider that you pulled the full rotation, but you haven't taken enough of the site to fully dedicate all of these players in. And sure, there's going to be a kill, but Acor's not even going to get there in time. It's completely down to Roy to win this round, and I don't think there's anything he can do here. They need almost both of the kills at this point, and in fact, they're going to get neither. 9-2. I understand the call to try and make it back, but to go alone, that was the risk.
Such a nice rotation as well from Nico. Like, he knows that, okay, they try to get in towards the A side. We are spread very thin. I have to be the one to make the move and go towards B. And he actually rotates so early, so he gets to the position before the T player. Very nicely done by him. Good read. Still, money on both sides. Still buy from both teams. But the money is getting kind of low for both right now, so if Mad Lions gets this one, they might be able to force Heroic on an eco, and then they can build some momentum.
Oh, this is where we can truly see the confidence rising now for Heroic. So aggressive all the way through the back of the apartments. Map control taken. Just not enough information or ground really gathered up by Mad Lions at this point. There'll be 3 players defending A. A full flank coming in before they've even got close to getting the bomb down. He might even be able to drop it. There is Innocent now starting to check his backlines. Definitely had the idea. Entry comes on. How does Cadian get away with 2? And he's holding the line.
Oh, Nico's flank.
For Nico to come in. This should be all too easy from here on out. Acor's not even going to switch his gaze. I think he's realized there's a man behind, but it really doesn't matter. Great round from Cadian, but they had it in the bag from the get-go.
Yeah. Nico's flank was going to decide that round anyways, but as you say, that second one from Cadian. Good stuff from him. Mad Lions in trouble. And Aiko's the one who's really, the only one who's really like pulling a lot of weight frag-wise. Of course, that's not always the focus. That's not always what you kind of measure players on. But he's definitely a little bit above everyone else right now. But no real difference when you get to the last 4 players. It's a kill difference of 1 or 2 kills. Asilian with a nice frag. Shouldn't really happen, but hey.
Oh, no.
Okay. Asilian is mad. He's heard your Twitch chat. He doesn't care.
Where
now Tesla's
from?
Yeah, 1v4.
And they've got no money left. That's how close, or at least how costly a lot of these rounds have been. Even coming down to just a couple of players left in the majority of rounds. All it took was one. And then that's enough to send the economy down to the toilet for Heroic. So a 10-5 half is actually quite workable for Mad Lions. And although it's definitely not ideal on a map like Mirage, it is still possible, especially on the CT side. I think even as a mixed team, like everybody knows how to play Mirage at this point. I think they'll be able to fit Innocent into this roster quite nicely. So I think this is still possible for them. If they can win these next 2 rounds, please don't lose 2 USPs. Thank you, Asilian, for at least cleaning up the 2 pushing. As Tessus does get away with 1. They've still got the remainder of the players stacked on B, which I guess is somewhat of a bait. Okay, we're going to push into mid, and then maybe you'll have the assumption that the rest of the team are going to be elsewhere.
Oh, okay. Secondary Moller will force them away. Should be a safe plan anyways.
Bomb has been planted.
At least that'll be a 4th. And as said, I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility. I think this is the one map where normally I'd look at that T side and go, okay, if you have a stand-in or a new player on the T side of most maps, it's probably where you're going to be a little bit more comfortable, because you can either, in this case, utilize Innocent as an entry fragger, or even just have them follow whatever strategy you're going for. I feel like Mirage is the one map where a lot of teams almost play that CT side like a T side. Like, you're going to get aggressive, you're going to look for information, you're going to take map control, which I feel like is a lot easier on this map than any other. And also, like, even if a player has played within any roster for an extended period of time, they're going to have seen basically everything you're ever going to see on Mirage. So yeah. I think that this is not completely done. Of course, a 10-5, 11-4 half, no matter what it is from this point onwards, is still very, very good from Heroic, but letting those last couple of rounds slip could give an opening to Mad Lions.
Yeah, it's definitely not done yet. Let's see now. Cadian with the AWP. Echo with the answer on the other side. And Cadian is actually not in mid. He is towards the B bomb side. So they're kind of switching the rotations around a little bit. So 2 M4s will be guarding mid right now. 1 window and 1 connector. And then once again, an aggressive play to get information. But Roy has read this like an open book. No, he turned side. That is such an unfortunate timing. Roy had that one. Yeah, he should have had that. Let's be real.
Unfortunate. That's a little bit of bad luck that could go a long way. A nice early nade as well. Came into the top of middle. And this aggressive push towards the B site is being quelled quite easily.
Oh, missed shot.
Cadian. However, it's not going to matter. Nico there to support. And then Cadian's just going to rattle off the remaining shots. It's down to A-Core 1v5. He has been pretty good on this T side, but you're going to catch that nade. It did so much damage. An 11-4 half, a dominating performance so far from Heroic. And the Mad Lions really need to step up if they're going to bring this back after the break.
Welcome back to the second half of Mirage. Cadian and Tessus, both above 100 ADI in this first half. Let's see if Heroic can continue their good role, or if Aiko and the boys can come back. Aiko still, despite only getting 4 rounds for his team, ending up on 88.3 ADR in that first half. So not too bad of a showing, but the team definitely looked like they needed something more.
Well, yeah, and the impressive thing for Heroic is there hasn't been a weak link. Are they going... This is a slightly less elaborate fake to what we saw Big do, but it is still the majority of people go A and will go B, which I feel like this strategy only works if the players going A still get some entry kills. Instead, this happens where, sure, you're guaranteed a bomb plant, but you just get slaughtered. And, well, Cadian, it'll be the most impressive round. He's going to get himself 2, but that will be all. It is going to be Mad Lions to get themselves the pistol. But I do wonder if teams almost at this point can realize, even if we get a bomb plant, we can come back in the second round and pretty much smash them into the ground with just the few rifles we can afford.
Yep. Actually, one thing that's interesting as well coming into this matchup, of course, we have Danish players coming all over the place, from all over the place here. But actually, 3 of these players on the server right now has been picked up from one of the lower tier teams, Copenhagen Flames, where both Roy, Asilian, and Tessus, all 3 have played before getting into this team. Which is quite an interesting matchup because those 3 players actually never really played that much together. I think only Asilian and Roy had some time together. Tessus came after the switch, so it's an interesting one. Cadian now with the AK-47, the hero AK. And will they watch towards underground after getting 1 kill early on? Cadian decides not to go there.
The sort of surprise factor, but well, I think he's more caught off guard than his opposition in this case, because Cillian's just managed to drop that AK with little to no impact. Of course, the goal is really just to do some damage in this round. That's all they're really hoping for. They can buy into the next. Sure, Cadian will have a little bit of a weaker purchase, but ultimately the rest of the team will have rifles. And considering he's the AWP, he may just pick up a scout anyway. Not really the end of the world. Are they doing this again? Oh, let's see if the fake works. They have managed to pull off Shush. It's actually going to work, Risk. Oh, wait. No, he's had second thoughts. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, Tess is taken out. Nico walking in, but he'll be spotted now whenever the bomb is clicked. Yeah, no worries.
Let's go.
No worries.
I really didn't want that to work. I don't want all those people who've tried to call that in matchmaking to be like, see, the pros are doing it. Like, no, it.
Oh. Here we go. 11-6. First buy round of the second half. No ops yet, but oh, Innocent missing the jump. Still not in a position where he's going to be taken out, so he can rotate away safely. Cadian does only have a Tech 9 here in this situation because he had the hero AK the round before, but 4 AKs and a Tech 9 isn't that bad, especially if he comes in a position where he can grab off an AK from a fallen comrade, or he can just do a quick entry close range with a Tech 9. He is, though, the guy in top mid, though, so it kind of seems like a weird position for a Tech 9, but let's wait and see if he's not going to join his brothers.
Have this attempted split. But yeah, as you said, it's going to be a tough one for Cadian to win. He may just be trying to delay any sort of rotations alongside teammate Imperup. In fact, it may even just be his attempt to try and set him up into the connector, but the time now ticking down, and still the majority of players within the Palace, they do have to be wary of any aggression into ramp as well, and clearing all these angles out anyone on ramp is actually going to be relatively difficult. I'm interested to see how this goes. 30 seconds up and coming on the clock. They've been spotted. It's an even trade so far, but Testa's on the entry. It's down to Shush. He's in a good position, but he'll only get 1. And the wraparound through middle has gone fantastically well. Barup even waiting, watching the murder hole. And now it's onto this man once again. The top fragger for his squad, right up there in the server, but maybe a bridge too far.
Heroic now on the brink of getting round number 12 on the board. And once again, like when they get the economy rolling, when they have a decent buy, when they have a decent execute onto a site, it just seems like they're in slightly a different league than Mad Lions at this point. Like Mad Lions definitely not a bad team, and they can still get rounds and they can still individually race with Heroic. But yeah, it seems like there's an edge for Heroic right now. There's a gap between these two teams.
Have they edited Cadian's smile to be even bigger?
I actually didn't notice. I'll have a
just
look.
like he looks like he's got the biggest grin.
Well, he
I think
does.
I've ever
Yeah,
seen him.
that is not edited. That is not edited. I can guarantee.
It looks almost like a Joker smile at this point, like it's just been drawn on.
That's just his
Beautiful
face, man.
smile, Cadian.
Borb in middle. And once again, the split between these different positions. They're just holding for aggressive plays because they know it's coming at some point from the Mad Lions player. Stown wasn't ready for it, even though it seemed like he was in the right position at the right time with the right crosshair placement, but he got shut down. And now we see Acor as well grabbing one. They have to retrieve the bomb, and Roy decides to go back. 13 HP, doesn't feel like he can take another chance. And it has to be on Borb now. He has to be the one to come in and get an entry, open up this bomb site for his teammates. There's footsteps behind him. Roy is low. Nico does have the Molotov as well, so they could Molotov Roy out if they wanted to. Nico does get to the position, but he's not throwing the Molotov away just yet. So let's wait. Borb with the first one. Cadian shut down, and now what can happen? Nothing. Roy, 3 kills, 2 of them on 13 HP.
Yeah, good round from him after what has been a bit of a quiet match so far. 12-7 scoreline. As I said, it's not out of the realms of possibility, especially now that money-wise things are a little bit awkward for Heroic. I think I've realized that maybe Cadian's absorbed the smiles of some of his other teammates, because they're looking like Nico and Stown are a little bit more solemn, I guess you could say, with their pictures. So I think he's just collecting smiles, as is Acor, slaughtering this eco. Bomb in his possession. Down with a serious look on his face, goes pushing to try and at least get one. And well, it's all smiles for Cadian, but he's in a 1v5.
All right, P250 in hand. Not much he can do here. Let's wait and see. Actually, Cadian might use this as a bit of a timeout, to be honest. Where he can just call, okay, what are we doing the next round? What do we need to focus on? What is the plan for the next couple of rounds? Who do we need to shut down? Because this is a free timeout for him. I actually kind of like this. I presume that's what he's doing right now. That's usually something that he comments on when I talk to him about, like, kind of how to use rounds that are not winnable. So I assume that's exactly what he's doing right now, which is a nice trick. Used to call this a Swedish eco back in the day, where you would just stand and spawn and just use the round to take a timeout back there when there were no timeouts.
Timeout before timeouts. Well, it seems like his time is up.
Oh well.
Not going to get a kill, and Acor's low, but there's plenty of players ready to pounce. And it's going to be an 8th for Mad Lions. Not too far behind now. Acor now the top fragger in the whole server after that spray down. Got himself the AWP back in hand as well, which is, well, his weapon of choice, but there will be one onto the other side. But it does seem like in a lot of these buy rounds, that's where Heroic have really stepped up in the first half. They were more than dominant, and I like the proactive approach. This is what I expected to see a little bit more from Mad Lions. Obviously, as said, new language, new player. Maybe that's a time to maybe try a bit of a new style, get a bit more aggressive, take some map control away, because realistically, this is their choice. This is a map where you are able to get away with a little bit more. We go into Inferno next, which is pretty much a map renowned for communication and rotations, which if you just switched your language, I don't think that's going to work. But either way, they've started this one off strong. Shush finds the opener.
Okay.
Down though. Well, that's almost a freebie.
Now B's open. The rotation comes in from Innocent, so he has to position himself on the side and hold this one off because the secondary rotation is not going to come in before the T's do. Boy, it's going to come from short. He does take the angle towards Kaden, but he's ready for it. Innocent, though, with a nice one. Secondary onto Borup. Good job. Very nicely held by Innocent.
And now there's not a lot of time left for Heroic to completely change what they're going to be doing. It seems like Cadian is still dedicated into this B site, and with Innocent being, again, the lone defender, Cadian can get this pick. It's more than doable 2v2. The only worry is this flank coming in from behind and how quickly Asilian can catch out these players already making his way up the stairs, but there's the entry, and now they'll be out the window. They may not expect him to be here so soon, and the plant position that they choose could be everything. It is going to be for short, which is almost a prime position for where Cadian's already moved to. And Asilian.
Here's the footsteps. So now Cadian's focused towards short. Asilian's coming in the back, and it's a 1v1. Cadian knows the position, and he'll land the shot. 4 kills from the AWP in-game leader of Heroic.
And something that was mentioned on the desk where, like, previously in other teams, like, you wouldn't necessarily put him as a star. I still remember back in the day watching him play, like, aggressive cobblestone, and you can definitely see the elements of his, like, aggressive AWPing come through. But in recent times, that hasn't really been the case. Here today, well, he's taken back top fragger in the server just in 1 round off of Acre.
Yeah, he's an interesting player for sure. One of those guys who will give up everything for Counter-Strike. Like, sometimes we forget that he played like almost a year in a North American team. He moved to Las Vegas to live alone. In Rogue, exactly.
And that was it. The thing is, that team fell apart, but that team looked pretty good when it was playing. Like, it wasn't a bad roster either. It was a shame, I'll be honest, when it did fall apart.
Yep, definitely.
But that was him leaving, so.
Yeah, but like it takes a special kind of person to give up everything socially and just move to another country and live alone.
Oh, blame
in
F.
like a house. Yeah, exactly. Like, those are the types. And those types of people, they will always prevail, in my, at least, experience.
Well, yeah, the interview they had with him was pretty damn incredible, saying he just watches Counter-Strike.
Oh, wow.
Day. That is not so innocent. 2 headshots through smoke. All right. The pole is here to play. They needed it in this round as well, and he might have just come up trumps for the squad, but Tessus is still alive and kicking.
No utility.
Bombs down in a bit of an awkward position. He doesn't need it, though. 2 kills to bring this back onto the man who started it all. Now, he's got 2 through smoke. The rest, well, there's no smokes, as you said, Rick.
But the bomb is still in an awkward position. The bomb is way up towards the palace area. So they have to basically, one guy go for the bomb and one guy hold the angle whenever they feel like it's time. But with 45 seconds remaining, they might have to go for the, the rogue play, the backstab.
Oh, look at Tessus. Oh.
This is standing slow. Oh, he's noticed it. Oh, Innocent, so close to making a huge play, but it will be Tessus with the 4K.
It seems to be player after player now stepping up individually, and after such a fantastic start to the round, of course, there was some weaker weaponry, but even still, impressive stuff from Tessus to keep them in that round. It's definitely been a little bit closer in this second half, for sure, but unfortunately for Mad Lions, I'm not really sure what this tactical pause is going to do. Okay, guys, we got no money. We've got to decide whether or not we force buy now or a little bit later. It's bad either way, basically.
Yeah, you have at least one more timeout remaining with Heroic being on 14-8. I feel like it's okay to take it because you can also just use this as a breather, just to calm the communication down, just to say, okay, guys, these are the 1-2 things we need to focus on right now. You have to utilize Peacemaker, and I feel like it's okay. Like, you should always use your 4 timeouts, and even though you get to use one of them as just a breather, that's fine. And with Heroic being on 14 now, I feel like it's okay for them to take their 3rd. And then if Heroic get on 15, then they can use their 4th.
Well, they have gone for the investment. That was the decision that was made, not wanting to fight for overtime with a slightly better buy in the next round. They're going to bet it all here. Quick push into the B side, though. Complete change of pace. I like the call from Cadian. Well, if it was Cadian.
Yeah, it probably
We
was.
know that they've got Hunden behind them. He might have just thrown that one in, but I like it just because in those sort of rounds where you know your opponents just had a moment to talk through, even if they have come up with an amazing plan, if you just run into the B site, whether you win or lose, they can't execute that plan. And well, unfortunately for now, all they have to do is save. It's going to be a 9-man, well, basically stationary waiting game for the next few moments.
Let me just take a second to look at the scores for a bit. Cadian once again, like, topping off with 23 kills so far. Good performance by him, but also, once again, like, I'd like to highlight Tess's, like, this young talent who did not play professionally. Like, yes, he was playing in Optic, but he actually wasn't under contract in Optic. He never got a contract. He was just playing as a stand-in player. So they might have paid him something, but he wasn't under a contract. So it's been a while. Like, his first professional contract, as far as I know, came with Copenhagen Flames, and then he got picked up by Heroic. So he's still a young guy and still has plenty of years to go in his Counter-Strike career. Cadian has had many years, but he's still on top.
The last-ditch effort for Mad Lions. It has been a pretty one-sided affair, although they've definitely shown some stuff in this second half. I think that it'll be interesting to see how they do on Inferno. Nice work from Shush as well. It comes at a cost of Roy's health, but definitely worth it to keep the manpower even. An Instant looking to be a little bit cheeky here, catching them, or hoping to catch them as they go through short. Instead, the real pressure is going to be onto Asilian at the back of the site. A rotation coming in, though, from Innocent will at least bolster the defense. And actually, the bomb's in a bit of a weird position, wrapping around the corner. I don't think it's going to matter too much. Asilian gets caught by a flash. It's left down to 2, Roy and Shush, to try and keep them in this map.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of way of going about it. They know they have better weaponry. They feel like they're better individually right now. So instead of just going for the bomb plant first, they just go for the duels first. And in this scenario, it totally works out. Roy and Shush has to make an amazing clutch here to make this one happen, to make this map go even further. Cadian shuts it down and Bob with the final frag. Heroic 16-8.
Yeah, somewhat an expected performance, I guess you could say, from Heroic coming into the tournament. They spoke about a few people or a few teams maybe starting things off a little bit slower, but they've come in hot, and Mad Lions are now going to have to go on to their map choice of Inferno to try and bring this back. And we're going to be back after a short break with the Desk, who are going to break that one down.